Larry, do you want to go next?
Sure.
You can share your screen if you want. You have some things to show, right?
I mean, we can just talk through it. It's fine.
Okay, cool.
The growth strategy that I'm employing to grow my business, and as well as my several thousand customers, is this idea of kind of revolutionizing like the email marketing strategies. So this is not an SEO thing, although they're related. The big idea that I have is that there's a ton of leverage in just sending out emails to the ideal target, ideal customer persona, like the ICP of your business. So think about, who are the types of people who would want to buy your products and services, and just email them. Okay. Now the problem with that is it doesn't work per se. Like you end up getting a lot of spam reports, and it just goes straight to spam, and so that's why people don't do that. Okay. But what I've been finding over the last 2 years is that there is a way to make this work. It just requires a little bit of tweaking in terms of the approach. There's kind of three components. The number one is that list of people that you're going after, tie in some kind of an intent signal in the data. Okay, so like instead of just a list of all the marketers in the United States, it could be like, all of the people who are marketers who recently visited your website. So now there's like a lot of intent there. And my company, Customers.ai, actually, that's one of the things that we do. We can figure out who visited your website and give you their name and phone number and email. Okay.
Wow.
But just by having an intent signal rather than a vanilla kind of list, that dramatically boosts the engagement, which is one of the things that helps email deliverability. Like low engagement scores, that's kind of like a express ticket to the spam folder. The second idea is like there's all these like deliverability tools. So if you think of like the promotion filter as sort of like an AI that classifies if email is spam or not. The Achilles heel of this AI is that are these deliverability tools, which they do this funny thing where once you join them, you're in this network, and the network just sends emails to the other network participants. Okay, you're with me so far? And when something goes into the spam, this stupid program, it pulls it out of spam. Okay, and so that's like, the AI is classifying something as spam, but then there's like this user signal that's saying like, no, this actually isn't spam. And so that's kind of the Achilles heel of this AI, which is like there's this way of kind of confusing and undermining those spam filters using these tools. And I don't provide that functionality, but there are companies that do that, and it's quite effective. And then the last idea I have here is generative AI in the copy that you're sending. So the emails that you're sending to the recipients from your intent-driven data list, don't just send them the same email. Like leverage generative AI to generate a customized outreach at scale so that every single recipient receives a different email. That helps dramatically with deliverability because Google has nothing to fingerprint. Like it's like if you're sending out the same email 100,000 times, that's a dead giveaway. But if you customize it, and how would you customize it? Well, you could augment the data. So using AI, like I can just say, oh, Andy, he lives in this address. He's interested in these things. He has this family structure. He's like votes this way. Like there's like the customers AI, like my platform can kind of enrich your understanding of an individual and then subtly customize the outreach in ways that kind of will more likely resonate with what we know about that individual's identity. And so that actually generates like 60-70% open rates and click rates, which is insane.
Wow.
So
insane.
I'm calling this intent-driven outbound emailing. It's kind of like a mixture like of between, on one hand, inbound marketing, on the other hand, outbound marketing. So you take the best elements of inbound, which is kind of the better engagement rates, and then you take the best elements of outbound emailing, which is sort of the scale. Like there's unlimited capacity for leads here and low costs, and you combine those two, and if you could get a way of doing like, high volume of, high intent outreach at low costs, like that's kind of my exciting new go-to-market. What do you guys think?
I think it's great. I have questions, of course. Is it business to business, or is it business to consumer, or is both?
This will work for B2B or B2C.
Okay.
It's just how you set it up. So like your data lists that you compile in the first place, like I was saying, like get a list of marketers. So that would be a B2B use case. But if you were selling like pet products and you were looking for cat owners, that's just a different data signal that you would look for. So as long as you align the intent-driven list generation process to either a B2B or a B2C use case, that'll determine functionally like whether it's B2B or B2C.
And did they have to be on your list originally, or?
So the problem with traditional inbounding is that you have to wait for them to subscribe to your list, and that's a big hurdle. Like there's only so much you can grow that list. Like maybe 0.5% of people who visit your website will opt into a newsletter, maybe less. I've seen it as low as 0.1%, so what we're saying here is we're doing this in a legal way, though. Like I'm not a drug dealer or like this is not illegal. Like I don't want to have an illegal business, guys. But basically what you do is you just have to honor all the can spam regulations, like identifying who's the sender, like your address and stuff like this, or providing like an easy way to opt out. And honoring that opt-out in a prompt way. Like there's nothing in can spam that says that you're not allowed to email people. Like in America, we have the First Amendment, which says Congress shall pass no law that in any way, abridges the right of free speech. Yeah. That's why can spam is all about just, honoring unsubscribe requests and not about like, who you are or not allowed to email.
Yeah, and anyone who hasn't read it, it's not a long piece of legislation. Go ahead and read can spam. It's email marketers should all read it. I think it's pretty concise. But so Larry, I'm fascinated. There's a couple of different elements of secret sauce. One is knowing who visited the website. Totally interesting. Another is getting through the filters. Also, it's totally interesting. The third I heard there was to customize the emails based on who the person is. Fascinating. But what happens at the end? Actually, my question is about what happens when they everything goes well. Person opens, person clicks. It just goes to
you're hoping
the
for
rep just gets What happens?
You're hoping for a reply, like to start the conversation. All of this is like top of funnel stuff. It's just the hardest thing in the world to move a customer from a prospect to a suspect to like close one like that. Mm-hmm. That is a difficult journey that results in like very few making it through all those hurdles, and this just greases it. It dramatically widens the aperture at the top of the funnel because instead of capturing 0.5% of people subscribing to your newsletter or whatever, we can make that 15 or 20%. So that's 15, 20 times more than what companies typically do. And so that's more at bats, okay. And then the follow-ups, you can build rapport with a prospect in an email in ways that you can't do through other channels like ads and stuff like this. Like this is a protected space. This is their inbox. You're having a one-on-one conversation with them, and what you're trying to do is build up like trust and rapport, so that you can convert that suspect or lead like into close one customer.
Wow. Yeah. And do you have suggestions on suggestions or even training on after the email is sent? Like, do you just do you just use your gut when they respond and just follow it that way? Or do you have best practices on, all right, this was a cold prospect, they became a suspect, they wrote back, like, don't vomit on them for a second. You know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds weird, but I find that people are dying to do their hard push on every email every time. Sometimes they don't even get my name right. They're just so ready to vomit on me. So like now you're like, cool, I just got way more open rates. Like what I don't recommend you do is, now that they've answered once, that's not permission to vomit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know
so
what
I think what you're describing is more of a legacy, traditional inbounding journey where
yeah.
you have all this off-topic blog posts about like marketing, and you get these subscribers who aren't necessarily interested in what your product does or your services, and so you're trying to like gradually kind of nurture them through a funnel of a journey of discovery of your products and services. Okay, so that's fine, but that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about like intent-driven outbounding, and so here, in order for someone to have appeared in this list, there has to be some kind of an intent signal, like they had a baby, they just released a new office, they just visited your website, they just installed Shopify on their website. There's some kind of a listening signal. And so what we're finding is like the ambush approach, like cuts, what you're calling the vomit approach, is actually incredibly effective, because you got to treat this more like search engine ads, right, than traditional inbound marketing sequences, because someone is just really angry and they want to get a divorce. Okay, like that could be a signal. Then just go straight for the, like, we're gonna make him pay. Just go straight for the jugular. In fact, that's one of the advantages of this kind of emerging modality of email marketing that I'm trying to popularize, which is that you don't have to have these like 2-month long journeys of discovery. You can actually, because the intent is there, you can just pitch your products and services more overtly, early on, while reflecting your ideal value proposition, your unique selling proposition, while reflecting back their identity, their interests through the generative AI, which is kind of clever.
Yeah, if you compare it to ads, I mean, people don't mind ads if they're very relevant.
Yeah.
What people don't like is irrelevant stuff.
Right.
People don't like my LinkedIn inbox, which is like, I get ridiculous messages like, "Hey, we identified you as one of the top PPC marketing companies in the world." Like, we don't even do PPC marketing. How did I get on your list? Like, do you know who I am? Did you look at anything that I've ever done? Yeah, that's annoying. But if it's very relevant, like, "Hey, saw that thing you did, noticed you were part of this," like, now you've got my attention.
Yeah, so that's the key to making this work. One of the fundamental pillars was this idea of thinking about what are the signals that your ideal customer persona gives off immediately prior to becoming an ideal prospect. And then, like the examples I gave was things like, if you're a furniture company for offices, like listen to the funding events. Those are the people who are going to expand their offices and buy a lot of office furniture. Like just, if you're an e-commerce agency, like listen for companies that install Shopify, or et cetera. And that, and then work that into the copy, like, "Hey, congratulations on the funding," or, congratulations on your new Shopify store. So it makes it sound like this is not just an automated email, which it is, but it's automated and customized at scale.
Does it go into draft mode first? Do you get to review it, or does your machine just send it?
There's various levels of automation. The most conservative way is to just auto-generate an email that is static. So like we can just use it for writing the first email that's static, and then there's more capabilities around like customizing that email based on what pages they visited on your website. So like Andy has various services web building, around web promotion, around social media marketing, et cetera, et cetera. Why not customize these outreach emails based on like, oh, I saw that they visited this page, therefore they're probably not interested in this other thing, like that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then so you can turn those on, and it just gets more and more customized the more comfortable you get. Like adding in like the identity kind of personalization. If you were to look at the prompts, what we're telling the AI to do is not meaningfully change the meaning of the outreach, but put in subtle cues to make it seem like we know a little bit about that individual.
Yeah. I used to do something with HubSpot where if I found that someone was in an awareness page or a consideration level page, I would create we call them target pages, assuming they had a cookie on their computer, which you just said was a huge problem, and that was the problem, is it didn't send out enough emails, but I'll get back to that. If they went to an awareness or consideration page on our website, when they left, the email that automatically generated out to them was more of a decision level piece of content, assuming that it's pushing them further down the funnel. Awesome idea, really great, worked when it worked, but very few emails. I had very few emails, very few cookies on people's computers to generate it, so the volume was never there to prove a really good significant case.
Andy, how many visitors go to your website in a month, approximately?
We have a lot of highly visible articles, so it's got to be maybe 50 to 70,000.
Yeah, that's the same with me, like 100,000 visitors a month. So like, if you can ID 20% of them, that's like 10, 20,000 for you and I. This is a very powerful go-to-market. Now, you could argue that 20,000 suspects that's a lot of noise. Like what we really want to do is kind of figure out who's the kind of the diamond in the rough, the unicorn amongst the sea of donkeys. And the answer is like you start adding filters. So like maybe the filter would be like people who stayed on the website for more than 20 seconds, right? Because there are a lot of people who just bounce in 10 seconds or less, and you should probably just ignore those people. Another filter would be like, what other high value pages did this person
that's the one visit? I want to talk to the 5,000 people who landed on the service page.
Exactly. So like you could start saying like, now I know that they came in through this inaugural interest, so that'll kind of dictate the tone and the content of the outreach. But I won't email them unless they also get to like a pricing page or spend a certain amount of time on the site. So it's I'm not trying to just generate emails for the sake of generating emails. It's we're trying to generate sales. Is the bottom line, and these in outbounding, less is more. Like I'd rather have better qualified emails than a crap ton of unqualified emails, and so we do that as well.
I find that all the time, and I'm sure you get that too, Andy. Is that that's how I found you? Is I DIY'd all your stuff. I'm not a good candidate for you to send those emails to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not that guy.
Yeah. Right.
But if I was the type of guy on your service page, Larry, what about video? Is there a trigger that you can do that if you get to end watching a video, you can send an email?
So my product doesn't do this, but there's tons of opportunities to leverage AI in that. Remember how I was saying there's three parts? The third part was leveraging AI in the
generation of the pitch.
In the pitch generation, yes. So one is generating the email or a sequence of emails. But why stop there? You can generate a shorter text message and send that. You could generate a shorter message and use one of these AIs that convert text to voice. Okay, and these are incredible. It sounds perfect. Like you can't tell. Okay, so an AI generated text to an AI generated voice, and then we could drop that into someone's voicemail box. Okay. Or you could generate an AI generated script and then walk that into like an AI generated like video sales letter. So like that's where you just record your pitch but then it makes slight customizations to like how your mouth is moving and the sound that's coming out of the speaker,
Yeah.
so that
Yep.
it sounds like, and this is imperceptible, like that you cannot tell that this is not a fully customized AI,
Okay.
letter at scale.
You just took me
Turing.
past the point where it's like, it's not just like robocall, it's like cyborg synthetic
Yeah.
human call, like a robocall with a face. Like this is another level, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna. It's gonna take me just give me a couple minutes. I'm going to remain calm, thinking about the implications of this in sociology and politics and like the way the world works. But I get it, Larry, and I love your brain for thinking beyond, what the typical marketer is doing here. So thank you for the insights, if nothing else.
Yeah, look, this is my big claim here is that the way that you're doing email marketing is probably not as great as it could be. And what I'm suggesting here is that there's ways to leverage AI to kind of overcome deliverability challenges, list generation challenges, as well as content generation challenges. And when you combine the three, it's transformative. Like, look at our case studies. Like, these people are printing money. Like, and the thing about it, this is like the alternative to what we're talking about is just so ripe for disruption. It's like ads. Like, so that's where I come from. I was doing Facebook and Google ads, and those were a great go to market for a decade. But like those 5-cent clicks are now $50 a click. So it's just harder to justify, harder to generate returns, because every 1% increase in cost per click is a 1% decrease in return on investment for that client. So it's just I think nothing wrong with SEO. In fact, this is very complementary to SEO because it lets you extract more value from the content that you've already ranked for. But for me, rather than trying to build a new, like my last business had a website that had 4.2 million links pointing to it from 100,000 domains. Like, rather than me trying to recreate that from scratch at this new business, my go-to-market is doing targeted outbounding. Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. Larry, thank you.